Now, champions and challengers. I start with Gerhard Krommel. I think gone through the German, well, you're going to introduce yourself, but gone through German industry. And he's also our chairman, by the way. And then we have Martin Ott, who was his, I think, first NOAH ever 2009 speaker.
Definitely.
I think it was called Money Bookers at this time.
At the time, yes, I was still at Money Bookers.
And now he
Excited
runs
to be back.
half of Facebook Europe or so. Your official title is, what is it?
It's I'm heading Central Europe.
Oh my God, it's getting more and more. Why don't you have a seat there? No, I'm very happy for you being back. Now, when I was with the CEO of Temasek Europe a few days ago, I learned that he has a Procter & Gamble marketing background. And I said, that's kind of funny. They mostly invest into digital, but you have a non-digital background. He said, it's all about understanding the consumer. So we are all kind of digital already. But if you look at your advertisers, Martin, and this conference is all about bringing together champions and challengers. You're a challenger who became a champion. But do you think that today the old economy has used your platform already in the greatest way? Or do you think there's still room if you compare it to some of the startups?
When I compare it to some of the startups, I think there's clearly still a lot of room. We work with both very traditional players, as well as some of the most exciting startups, some of them here in the room. What we do see is that as startups are much more nimble and embrace technology, they have agile pods, even organized around marketing, and are much easier to adapt new things. Take Instagram stories. It's a huge thing at the moment. It grows really rapidly. And where you have the startups trying this out, and they, by nature, because they've grown up on this, upload videos in vertical format. And then you have some of the very traditionals that still shoot big videos in, horizontal format, and it doesn't work. So that's just one example that there's still a big, learning curve.
So they're adopting faster to new products.
Yes, yes. But we see great results also with some of the traditionals as they adapt to just digital and mobile in general. So it's an evolution, not a revolution, let's say.
So what would you tell Gerhard, who's involved, or at least was involved? He's now more digital than offline. But tell us, what's your recommendation to the old economy? How can they get more of this kind of up-to-date know-how to gain customers through Facebook?
So, Gerhard, he's really tech-savvy. I know him, so he's probably not so representative anymore for just the old economy, as he has embraced the new one so much. I think it's being nimble, learning from startups. What we do is we bring digital natives, what do we call them, like born online, together with very traditional companies. They talk about disruption, organizational challenges, digital transformation, and particularly around how do you organize with a constant changing development. When you see large traditionals usually organized in silos and there's structure to it, and that doesn't always work in this new, very fast-paced environment. At the same time, you also have the startups that then want to scale. They need processes, they need talent management, and so on. So there's also a fruitful relationship to learn from both sides.
So, Gerhard, when did you do your last Facebook post?
I don't use Facebook. Why don't I use Facebook? Exactly for the reason why Mark Zuckerberg went to Washington and to Brussels to excuse himself. As long as it's not clear how the regulation for Facebook is done on an international basis, I like to keep my data for myself, and I don't want that they are sold or given to others for whatever kind of reason. That's the reason why I don't use Facebook.
I mean, you can see that there's still a lot of myth out there, like listening to Gerhard now, that my data being sold and stuff like this. So there's clearly a lot of stuff that we still need to do in order to educate and show the stuff that we're doing. I don't want to talk...
Yeah, we talked about education yesterday, right? Like a university for responsible dealing with social. Like
Definitely.
my daughter has a very different view to yours, Gerhard, and most of her friends have. I guess some of your friends sharing your perspective. How many, Martin, how many younger people are there with the conservative view of Gerhard, which, by the way, I've also an appreciation for.
Look, and don't get me wrong, I also have an appreciation, and there's clearly a reason why Mark went there, because we made those mistakes, and we need to correct them now, and we're doing everything to correct them and to earn back the trust, and hopefully sometime also earn Gerhard's trust.
Yeah. By the way, that was yesterday when Dara from Uber spoke about like Uber, and it reminds me, he said they were growing so fast, and everyone was addicted to this high double-digit growth rate. So actually more, 150%. So they pushed whatever they could, and then you have the reality check. Okay, take a step back. What do we have, and what do we need to do? And I guess Facebook is going through a similar.
Definitely, and I think it's in a way it's in a healthy development in some instance, because for a very long time we've just focused on the positive things, and there's overwhelmingly positive stuff happening on the platform. We shouldn't forget this, but there's then also always bad actors that explore technologies, and we now just have to steer over and really focus on fixing the stuff, and that's what we're focused on. So, but
there's this conference we have Mr. Altmaier, who's the German economic minister. And Klaus Hommels is interviewing him tomorrow. Klaus Hommels is probably one of the most outspoken investor in Europe talking about Europe is losing against Asia and the US in the global scene of competitiveness. So he's going to interview him. But let me ask you two, do you think our politicians are able to regulate our lives, considering that we have crypto, the power of the platforms? I mean, of course, the private side knows the most, but they're, of course, conflicted. Who you think could or should regulate our lives in the future? I mean, you seem to be concerned about privacy, Gerhard.
No, absolutely. I would say Facebook is, the invention is done by a genius. Facebook opens possibilities that have never been possible before.
You can speak to every person all over the world by
This is
video,
fantastic.
voice.
But on the other side, you can say that was also true when printing was invented. And what's necessary that this is done in a certain way with a certain responsibility. And if in a print medium there is somebody responsible for what is printed, that's the editor. In the case of Facebook, up to now, nobody was responsible. Now it's changing, and I'm very happy about it. And I didn't say that I will never use Facebook. I just said I'm not using Facebook for the moment. So it's still, there's still hope. There's still hope.
Okay, I mean, we're kind of going a little bit all over the place. Sorry, it's my chaotic style. So the old economy still has opportunity to spend more with Facebook and make more money. You take your change at Facebook seriously. Let's talk about, since we have you, let's talk about some of the big themes, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday night, we talked a lot about artificial intelligence. There's virtual reality. Tell us a little bit about what's going on at Facebook. Where do you think this world is going? What's the next big thing?
Look, I think generally, I'm very optimistic about where we're heading with the technology. For us, clearly, is we had our developer conference F8 a few weeks ago, and we announced our roadmap, and a big investment clearly goes into AI, also virtual reality. On AI, when we look at the advancement we've made, it helps us actually take some of the bad stuff off the platform. When you look at it's 99% of the content you'd see from ISIS and Al-Qaeda gets detected by AI and gets taken down before anyone sees it. A lot of good stuff happening as well.
Illuminati in Israel, I don't know if you know them, they also scan the net, and they found even kidnapped children.
Oh, wow.
Through scanning the net and reading news blogs and things like this.
Look, I think it's an example that, if applied right, and then let's not be naive. Technology, always have to serve a purpose. And, there's always people that might explore it, but on the overarching thing, it can do so much positive. And I'm, really on the optimistic side. We see it take AI. It also helps on our platform blind people to read to them what's happening on the platform. VR, clearly you ask also about.
I mean, I don't know if this is a public number, but I know I didn't ask before, but tell me how much, if you look at your IT and your R&D budget, how much you think roughly you would spend into new things versus existing things? I mean, at Google we know they're kind of looking always for the moonshot, and they even split the company for that. But how much is Facebook looking at investing into new technologies? Historically, you have done an amazing job in M&A, right? But
we do invest a lot in development, and when you look at globally where we're investing, the headcount is really in technology, in the big bets. There's our roadmap initially working on the existing platforms and new products, and then in the very, very long run, things like VR, Oculus Go is we just announced it yesterday, coming to Europe now, AI. And there's also now significant investment actually also still going in people, because AI is not fully there yet. So we just said that we doubled the number of people from 10,000 to 20,000 just on security. So it's technology is not there yet, so you still need actual people to do stuff.
One last question for you. I saw you are going into the online dating segment, which is historically a market where we had lots of people here at NOAH. We had Whitney from Bumble. Are you going to propose potential partners for me through AI now? Or?
Look, what we've seen is that people use Facebook for very different things. One thing is to connect with people, and dating is also part of that life. That's why we also offer this functionality. It's clearly not the core of what we do, but it is, as everything we do, trying to listening
it's core
to the
to a lot of people, right?
Yeah, definitely. And that's how we build things, is always. And I think it's also something when you look at the traditionals. What the traditionals would learn from the young ones is to listen and really be people and product-centric to see what they want, and then take those decisions.
So Gerd, let's talk a little bit about Siemens. And you started coming to our conference like 4 years ago.
No, longer, 7 years now.
7 years ago.
7 years. Oops. And it's the first time that you don't wear your green tie.
Why do you think that is?
In London, it was always the case. In Berlin, in Tel Aviv, the first time I see you at
the first thing Gerhard said this morning, "Where's your tie?" I should have asked you the same. Yeah. No, I think we have to change also with us. And I used to be a banker at Lehman Brothers.
That's right. Yeah, me too.
Dick Fuld told us, "It's your uniform." We were like the first to dress up again after 2000. But it doesn't make sense. The feet hurt in the evening, and it's sweaty, and anyway, that's why. Yeah. We have to change with ourselves, I guess. But
I fully agree.
But let's talk about change. And I guess in the early years, when people told you we have to spend money on Facebook and Google, you were thinking, what? But obviously, tell us a little bit, how did the mentality in German corporate, like old economy corporate, change to digital? And you kind of, in both sides. You're the chairman of AUTO1, which is currently officially Europe's highest valued startup. They raised money from SoftBank this year. Hakan came to know for a long time. So you've been in both worlds. So tell your friends from the old economy what your observings are and what they should do better.
First of all, Marco, I don't like the word old economy.
Let's
say it's a real economy. Because we will need cars, we will need planes, we will need houses, we will need washing machines, we will need everything. And the digitalization can be disruptive. We have seen it at Siemens in telecom, but it can also be a huge chance to improve the quality and the service for our customers. And it's by chance, it's not on purpose. Today in the Financial Times, it's a big article about the digital champions in the world. And they say in Europe, there's only 5% of the real economy a digital champion. In the US or the Americas, it's 11%. In Asia Pacific, it's 19%. And as far as Europe is concerned, 19.
Interesting.
And so 3 times more, 4 times more than in Europe. And they give one example for a real good change to the digitalization, and it's Siemens. And because really Siemens today is one of the leading digital companies in the world, and during the 11 years when I was chairman there, as you know, I stepped down as chairman in January, let's say we really made huge investments over the last 10, 11 years. It started through 2007 when we bought for 3.5 billion UGS. It was really the first step that we started to understand what digitalization is for us today. And the question is always, are we competitive, are we not competitive? Look at GE and Siemens. For 50 years, GE was always for us the example to follow. Today, it's the other way around. Why? Because we understood earlier than GE what the changes or the chances, I would say, the digitalization could mean for our products.
And now you're ready, after you fix Siemens, to go to digital challenges.
Yeah, that's right. I must say I'm fascinated. I'm really fascinating, and if I have one, or I can't say no, I'm absolutely happy with my business life. But on the other side, if I could have started in the digital world a little bit earlier, I must say, I think perhaps
Zuckerberg would have really need to watch out.
Yeah, okay, I'm not going there. But on the other side, no. And I, as you said, I'm the chairman of AUTO1, and AUTO1 and Hakan will be here later on. And this is really a fantastic company, real economy, once again, but using digitalization and the possibilities of digitalization to make sure that a really complex process of the buying and selling used cars, this used car market is highly complex, and they got it extremely simplified, and this is fascinating.
Thank you so much for opening with me. This was fascinating. And also thank you, Martin, for answering the questions.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Gerhard.
Marco, thanks a lot.
I wish you a
See
great
again later.
conference.
Yeah.
Thank you.